In the former Soviet Union and Russian-speaking countries, sitting between people with the same name is good luck. You can make wish, and usually people wish for like finances, millions of dollars, financial freedom, stuff like that. But the best way for financial freedom is actually education, right? Educate yourself about finances, and that's what we're going to talk about today on our podcast Queens with Accents. My name is Natasha. This is
Nadia.
my host and our super guest today. Another Nadia. They're both Nadias. What do you think? Both Nadias. So I'm gonna keep making wishes during the whole podcast. And so Nadia is our specialist today. She knows everything about finances. We're going to talk about finances, women and finances, and Nadia is going to tell you about herself because what qualities she has
Of
for
course,
us.
very nice meeting you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely,
It's an honor.
absolutely.
I was born in Russia and I grew up in the United States. I came here when I was very young. I was 18 years old, and I went to American school, graduated in New York City, graduated finance and economics, and moved here in Florida in 15 years ago. So I'm very passionate about finances. You grad, achieved American dream, build business from $500 to become an advisor at Fortune 500 company. Yes,
Okay.
and the U.S. citizen since 2014.
I think you came basically at the same age. You came like you were
came at 18.
18,
Yes.
and you came about
18, yes.
Yeah, it's the same age.
A lot of people know my age. Thank you very much.
Let's stop. Let's be honest with
That's
people,
true.
okay? There's nothing to hide.
She was trying to be evasive about it, and you're just like crying. Right? Okay, all right.
Okay, we're gonna
Well,
cut it. Okay, almost hit.
I guess someone likes numbers a lot.
Well, because we're gonna talk about numbers. By the way, about the age, just that it's unrelated. We went to Vinwood yesterday, and we were buying tickets, and they're like, "Oh, if you were like senior citizens," and I'm like, "Yes, of course, over 65." I'm like, "Yes, of course, I'm over 65." You know, like it's a joke. She didn't blink. Okay, that girl didn't blink. She said, "It's always good to be honest." I'm like, what?
Well,
Thank you very much.
how old was the girl though? Was
She was like
Yeah.
about 22. Like,
Listen, yes.
Yeah. So I guess
there are
I looked
actually-
60 over 65. I'm
There
thinking,
are studies that teenagers up to a certain age, they cannot discern ages of people. They just know it's an adult, but they don't know how old the adult is. So
I think I can say I'm 29.
if the girl was, if the girl was younger, so it might not be her fault. It's just her brain is not there.
Okay, you know what my brain said? Okay, I'm never going to come here again. I'm done.
Okay.
See people. Anyway, let's get back to our, as we say in our countries, sheep. Let's get to our sheep, to our finances. And Nara is going to educate us about it. And I'm going to tell like my little story that when I came, right? And I came to the love of my love. It's ex-love for now. But basically he taught me everything I didn't need to know. And the girls came different ways. They came on their own. So they had to learn things on their own. And when I came and they came, we didn't have ChatGPT, we didn't have Google as advanced as now. So we had to learn from other people, right? Like from our friends, from our neighbors, and from our husbands. So my husband, for example, ex-husband, he told me like you can't open your own account when you get married. You have to have, yours.
Well, okay, partially he was probably correct because you were on a fiance visa, were you not?
No, when I came, we got married, and I was,
Correct.
already.
But then, right?
Green
You
card,
can't, you
green
can't
card.
get a green card immediately. You get it through a process, right?
Right,
And then
but-
you still have to go to the interview and confirm that you're married. And that you're really married and you're
Yeah.
not just like faking it, right? So for this purposes, he was correct.
Okay, but that was what it was not for
need
that
to have a
purpose.
joint account. But then
It was
okay,
not for purpose. Trust me.
on the other side of things, right? My husband's not American, he's Ukrainian, but either which way, like when we got married, to me, it made sense to have a joint account. Like now, so many years later, we've been together almost 20 years, so many years later, I do have a separate account, but that doesn't necessarily, I have a separate savings account, I have a separate checking account.
Right.
But we also do have a joint account. So like some of my salary goes into the joint account and then some of my stuff goes a different way. But it wasn't like that from the beginning.
But you can open your separate account. I mean, in marriage, in general, not
Right.
just for immigrants, but in general, people have their own accounts, even in marriages.
I mean, they can, right? But then, like, to me, again, I didn't know nothing about accounts at all. I've never had an
Exactly.
account ever in my entire
Exactly.
life. So to me, it made sense to have a joint account with my husband.
Yeah.
So it was more my initiative than anything, really, because it just made sense in my head.
What is the best practice?
What was the purpose of opening account?
For myself?
What was general? What was was it for savings or for?
No, it was just checking account. It was just a checking account
Okay.
where like all our finances that we're supposed to make,
And they
would
were
go
all
there,
mingled
joint account.
into one account.
in that one account, and we would spend, wherever, whichever way we went. But what is the best practice for that particular, I think let's start with basics, like what for immigrants, what advice it would be? for
Well,
example.
of course, we all have to have goals. Very important. Everybody has a unique financial goal, and it might be different in different life stage. When you're younger, you might have a goal to buy a house. When you get older, when you become more mature, you think about retirement and how to start saving for retirement. So let's see, younger people, they all have goals of buying cars and have parties and travel.
To live now, right? To live now.
Yes, yes. And the most important is start saving for future very early. And my advice will be, as soon as you're born, open an account. Open an account. And if you have children, open account for a child.
You mean like a saving account?
So, yes, a saving account, or there's other options also for children. You can think about colleges. Especially with inflation, the cost of colleges is just outrageous, and we have to take it into account that the dollar today will worth much less 10, 15 years from now. We have to remember the idea of savings should come very early in age, and it's never too soon.
Yeah.
That's the answer, yeah. Because you think about a child, do you want child to go to school? Not everybody wants to go to school.
Right.
It depends on what you wish.
But if you think like you're pregnant, for example, and you want your child to have a great, become a doctor, right?
Yeah,
You have to start already that journey in the very infancy of that child.
And the goals change. When I first came to this country, I wanted to be a school teacher. So I wanted to teach kids because my mother is a teacher, my grandmother was a teacher, and I wanted to continue the legacy. But I completely did not like the profession.
But now you teach in a different way, so you can always fulfill that dream, but it's a little bit in a different way.
Different way. I absolutely love educate people, but when I came across a school system in New York City, I decided that was not
for you.
what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Plus, I was single. I was not married, and I was thinking, how can I make as much money as possible? How do I get there?
Yeah.
And the advices I received, like, go to finance. I was like, okay, that's kind of planted a seed. And I wanted to, it's like, how do I pursue that career? But unfortunately, not having connections, not having a family structure, not having support system, I had to rely on my own, and I had to take baby steps. That's what I was good at. It's taking one step at a time. How to get into financial industry, how to put your foot in the door. That was my strategy. So it took me about good 10 years to get where I am right now. So,
but honestly, if you think about it, if we're talking about equality, if we're talking about representation and females in high earning industries, right? We still see that there's not a lot of women at the table. If you think about like lawyers, right? Yes, there are some women lawyers, but majority, again, and I don't have the statistics off the top of my head, but there's a lot of male lawyers. There's a lot of male politicians, right? There are female politicians as well, but then again, the representation is still a lot less. the United States, as progressive as we think we are, we still haven't had a female president.
Right.
Right? We had people run a couple of times, but
Yeah.
they never got as much love as and support as they could have in other countries, I guess, right? So it definitely, the representation in the financial world of women is a lot less, because this is not something that comes to mind, I guess, immediately when you're talking to kids. What do you want to be? You know, I want to be a financial advisor, right? Who says that?
Right. Yes. No. I absolutely agree with you, and especially it is a male-dominant industry. I've seen it. I've been there. For example, any place we go, any conferences, any gatherings, it's usually aligned to men's room, and there's women's rooms like no one's there. So I was like, once I looked at it, I was like, that's interesting. Like, you know, you don't kind of like notice those things, but it's definitely. There are many reasons why, but we're going to discuss that. We're actually going to try to find out today why
Yeah.
there's.
Why is it happening?
But we women, we are caregivers from where we are. We
How we're raised usually, like
exactly.
Yeah.
Not only how we're raised anatomically.
No, exactly.
Well,
Let's be honest, right?
And because of our anatomy, we're raised in a certain way. Here, as you go, there's your baby stroller, there's your baby, take care of the baby, right?
Yeah.
And then there's nothing wrong with that, but
Here's a toy
you know,
kitchen, right?
Yeah,
Versus-
yeah. But then it comes with a background for us, like of that.
Absolutely.
Care.
Plus, we are giving a birth to a child, so at some point, and it takes time, and in the industry itself, it's very high stress because it requires, depends on where exactly you're in the industry, but it requires long hours, networking. So you work in an office, and then you have to go find clients. You go out, you network. It's security concerns. You know, there's also there are places where you have to stay late, and you have to travel, and so not everyone agrees with those circumstances. It's challenging.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And did you start seeing those like issues and problems already when you were like in college, or it all came after you graduated and went to the workplace?
It's interesting you mentioned that because, the American school, the first you have this elective classes. You go take dance class and you go to math and writing and everything. It's like we all mixed. But when you go for a profession, it's kind of funnels into, either gender, or you can see the difference. And I was a math major, so there was all pretty much foreign students in my class, and then when I went to finance, it was mostly guys in my class. So the last classes I had to take to graduate, there was maybe 5 or 6 girls in a 40 people class. So it was pretty obvious that the profession, the pickers who choose that profession, is going to be male.
Did you feel a lot of
dominant.
pressure when you went to school, oh, I have to be better than anyone, or how did it work?
No. I actually enjoyed it. I just I
Had
love.
a lot of attention, I'm sure. There's a lot of attention for a pretty young thing.
I loved, and especially from in the Soviet Union, we had a very strong math and early classes. We were like very advanced compared to school in the United States, in my opinion.
Oh, so you felt that when you
I felt
even
strength
in class,
right
you
away.
felt like you were stronger than other people. Okay.
When you moved here, I didn't really have a vision who I want to be. So what I wanted to take my strengths and move forward, and I knew the math was one of my strengths, and I said that's I'm going to use it. And
Right.
in order to graduate in finance in major, you have to have strong math skills. It's obvious. So I didn't feel pressure to choose certain classes or act a certain way, but certainly while while I pursue my major, when I realized that it was a male-dominant industry.
I was talking about, I just thought about it, I wanted to write it down, but so is it in finances, right? Is it more important to be book smart or street smart? Because for like people who create businesses, we all know they're not necessarily the smartest people in the universe. They're not necessarily math geniuses, right?
Yeah.
So, but they build these huge businesses. So, but what is it in what you didn't build your business? You started working for a company, right?
Right.
But you have to gain clients and all of that networking. So, but not the business. So, what part plays in this industry? Actually, actual education, or just gaining experience and knowledge from other people?
Yes, it's a great question, and honestly, it's very high competitive industry. So when you knew everybody's friendly, everybody's your friend, and you very comfy, but when you start get over the hump, like you became let's see, a little bit more experienced, and then you get to where the money is. And that's where like serious
That's where it's got
situation. Yes, that's when you see the truth comes out. People start, stabbing you in the back and play games, and
That's where the sharks come out, because there's money.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And even in this industry, you can be as book smart as you can know every trick in the book, but you still have to have this thick skin.
Certain personality traits.
Personality,
Yeah.
and especially working with people skills, working with people, and it's kind of combination of everything. But especially for women, we have sometimes it's an advantage and disadvantage, and that's what I learned, that I have to take my strengths and use them in my career.
Yeah.
And that's how I started from the beginning, and just it's all falls into the right order later on.
And women are more empathetic, right? So empathy, is it on your way? Does it come, interrupt you from building these, businesses, or does it get on your way? That's what I mean to say. From men that are like, don't really care always about empathy.
Empathy, yes, of course. We are emotional creatures. Women are more emotional than men.
Yeah.
It's been proven. And of course, it's like being a doctor. Some people come to you and but what's good news in my career, that in my job, that I can actually make them better. So I can help them 100% of the time. So when they either way, I can educate them on basic things like inflation. What does it mean? How to start saving? How the little counts? The little things do count, and that's what I appreciate in my career, that I can start small and then build a relationship and educate more. And
See, I get very frustrated every time I have to think about like financial planning, or I have to think about certain like accounts. There's so many different types of accounts. There's so many different, and I get really frustrated because I start reading and I go down the rabbit hole and I read more and I read more and I read more, and then after like 3 hours of reading, I still don't understand anything. And I get discouraged from doing that, because I've tried a couple of times, right? Because I'm like, I'm smart enough to read, the information and like process the information. I know that. But when I do that, I still don't really understand it fully, like 100%, right? And then I get discouraged and I'm like, I'm not going to do this because I don't get it. That's it. Bye. On the other side of things, financial planners, I have met a couple of people that were not like high level like you. Every time I interact with them, not only do I get more confused, but then also I get very frustrated, because they do, by nature of what they do, they have to ask you personal questions.
yeah.
Right? As far as like, what do you have now? Like, how are you planning for these things? How are you, doing this and that? And on the side of my husband too, he gets so upset whenever we're talking about life insurance. He gets upset And it's a cultural thing, I think, right? Because a lot of people who are coming from our background too, they're like, oh, well, if you're going to talk about it, you're going to call it on. You're going to bring the death on, or you're going to, oh, so you want to take a life insurance so you can kill me, or, something along those. It's a negative thing to think about. Not like Americans think about it. Americans have a different way of approaching it. And so I find that there's barriers, right?
Yes.
There's barriers. Like for me as an immigrant woman, there's barriers to understanding how the system works. Mm-hmm. There's barriers to using certain tools, and then there's barriers to also like from people surrounding me, right? Because if they don't want, like my family, if they don't want to participate, or they don't want to think about it, or they don't want to talk about it, that's where all of these barriers are coming from.
And it's very important because advisor is a relationship. So you have to find a person who can open you up. And what I've noticed that from my experience, women come to the advisor pretty often when they're in crisis, when they go from divorce, there's a death in the family. So it's for me it's mostly like a therapy. So they come to me and they talk to me about the problems, and it's completely different than working with a male client, for example, from my experience. And with women, we are very, very loyal to each other. So it's also a relationship. So when you said you ran into this person who was selling you something, and you just didn't, your husband got upset, and you got frustrated. So they didn't use the right approach. They didn't build the initial trust. Just initial trust from the beginning. So that means you just need someone who explain why life insurance. It's not about dying.
It's like getting a good gynecologist.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. So exactly, because when someone mentioned that life insurance is a death, it's not necessarily. It's protection for your family. It's thinking about caring about your family. We buy insurance all the time. We buy, car insurance. We buy house insurance, and but
just don't get the life insurance when you just married and give everything to the new spouse, right? And then you like fall from the cliff.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
But this is the thinking that my husband has. This is the thinking that
does he think you're gonna get all his money? You can kill him and get all his.
Like what? Like if I haven't killed you in 20 years, like come on, I'm gonna kill you now.
That's too funny. Oh my god.
No. So this is the type of thinking. It's really hard for him. And
that's all your movies that you watch.
And my husband's older than me,
ideas.
And so that's why a lot of we met like with 3 different advisors throughout these years. But basically, their point is, listen, you're older, and your chances of dying faster are higher. Well, just math again.
Right.
It's simple math.
Everybody's gonna die. Yeah.
He doesn't want to think that. He thinks that he's gonna live until 150, right?
That's what he thinks, right, in his head, and that's why he's like so against even talking about it, even thinking about it, even like one-to-one when we're talking one-to-one, right? There's a huge barrier, and then he gets upset, and then he gets like so yeah, I think there are a lot of different approaches, and I try to put it this way, put it that way, and like explain it to him like a different way, because I do think about it like that, like you said, as taking care of your family, like and life is so unpredictable, anything can happen.
Exactly, and he just probably needs an example. He probably needs to talk to someone who went through planning and not planning for that. And I've seen a lot in my practice. I've seen a lot of situations, unfortunate, when people don't think about it, and then time comes, and it's very hard for the family.
But it's probably on insurance. It's probably not going to be if something happens to him. It's probably also if something happens to you, right?
Well, no, but because you have to. I think I don't know. Let's ask. Can you buy a policy that's for both spouses, or you have to buy it separately for one spouse and the other spouse?
Of course, you can buy one policy for 2 spouses.
Oh, okay.
Survivorship.
Okay,
so I kind of thought that it was like always separate.
Because I just wanted to say I'm gonna help you to hide the body, but it's actually
well,
for both of you. So he can also, you can tell him that, we're all can, go to the cliff and, sorry.
When yes, absolutely, different products, and again, you need to talk to advisor and go over your goals. What is your goal? What do you see yourself 10 years from now, 15 years from now? How do you see your retirement?
You see, right, and the goals are changing too all the time, right?
All the time.
Before the war started in Ukraine, me and my husband were kind of thinking, when we retire, we might buy ourselves a small little apartment in Ukraine, and because he's from Ukraine, and we'll go there and we'll just live there because the prices are cheaper there where he lives, like a small little town type of situation. We don't need a lot when we're retiring, right? What do we need? There's everything there in that small little town. We can walk everywhere. We don't even need a car. Yeah. And we're like, this is what we're going to do. And this was a great plan. And we even started looking for some real estate where we're like, okay, maybe we can buy it now and then, rent it out and, make some money back a little bit until we are ready to retire. And then wham.
Yeah, you never know.
War happens.
Yes, it's unexpected. It's always like that. Even when you start like small account investing, like stock markets, they go out. The crisis happened, and that's very important to be prepared for that and talk to your advisor about that. And you have a savings for. Remember that you at least have about 3 to 6 months of savings on your saving account. Of your normal salary, so multiply it by 3 to 6 times. That's what you have to, in case something happened. That's very recommended cash access.
So what do financial advise for, like retirement, school, right? Insurances, investments.
We look at the
Like stuff like that.
situations. Everybody has different goals, like I said, and of course, like. What I wanted to talk about is about how important it is to be open about your investments, about your goals, and plan for retirement, think about retirement and savings, and make very little counts. And when I started working with women, I realized that women are very close. Sometimes they're very close. They don't want to share their financial situation, and from my approach, I was able to make them open up to me,
feel comfortable,
very comfortable, and related to them, to be related to the situation.
Which is true. The questions that have to be discussed are rather personal. How much are you making? How much are you saving? How much are you wasting for A, B, and C, like entertainment and things like that? So those questions they can be invasive. And if you think about it, like if you don't have a previous relationship, if you don't trust that person, you can put your guard up and be like, I don't want to talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
And so women come to you and you basically fix their problems, fix their financial situation. And men probably come to you to raise their to make it better, right? Financial situation. In most of the cases, no?
Well, it's very different. So usually men are more aggressive. They're more straight to the point. And women are like more on a gentle side, and they think about their family.
How can I protect my family, not my own? And men are more like for their own finances. Is that type of situation?
It depends on the personality. I cannot say for all the men.
Yeah, of course.
But what I've noticed that usually you can, based on what they choose for the investments, you can kind of predict the personality. And you see this, some people like they plan for retirement and they're more like for long-term relationship. They like being married, they like having family. The people who think about those days, and people who does the transactional business, like day trading and things like that, they usually like serial daters and
You see, this is how you have to take a look at it. This is how you have to. So before going on a date, ask them what what kind of investments they have, and that's how you know.
Imagine that, right? What kind of investment
That's
do you
how
have?
you know
I don't think
if
you're
you
gonna
wanna
go
go
on a
on a
date with me.
Ask them, what do you buy? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I don't think they're going on a date with me after that, because men's profile, they don't say what I invest, what kind of investment I have. They say I look for love, for genius relationship. And I'm like, no, you tell me what's your retirement plan.
And then I know if you're serious or not.
Yeah, maybe then we're gonna have coffee. But so women, like, for example, as a woman and who knows nothing about finances, right? And I will go, I don't really care if you're man and woman or a woman, I trust you that you have more knowledge than me. When men come to you and you're a woman, do they think that you know more than they do?
Of course.
Or they like question,
they wouldn't come to me if they
she
didn't.
is going to advise me now? Like me?
No, it's it's a personality again. Like everybody, like for example, I can connect with older gentlemen if they have children. I can connect with the children. They look at me. I tell them about what interest they have, and it's easier for them to understand me because I'm, for example, the same age as their children, and again. It's all about relationship. It's all about learning a lot about person, about the personal lifestyle, and everybody has its own client. Like some clients I don't take. It has to be a client which I connect with myself, and it's very important.
So the clients, it's not just one client for like an hour of your like work day. It's like for a lifetime,
For
right?
lifetime.
They become your clients for lifetime. You advise them over the years.
It's a long-term relationship.
Yeah. So where the stress lies? Like for now, it looks like pretty glamorous profession, right? She like the people come to her. She's like in a pretty suit, give them an advice, but it seems like it's easy.
Well, seriously, because world is very unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and usually, when it comes to money, people experience it's a sensitive subject, and they might become emotional. They can get angry. Unpredictable volatility of the market, that's a certain stress. Something happens in client's family. You take it, you discuss it, you take it on you, and you kind of. You walk him through the situation. It's a personal. So let's say you have 2 clients, but you have 300 clients, and everybody has a life. Everybody has a situation. So yes, of course, it's a very intense, stressful.
Because anytime you're working with people, it's stressful, right? Because people have certain expectations that might or might not be met.
Yeah.
People have their own ideas of what should and should not happen, and then, like you said, market is volatile, and then something happens, and then they get upset. Definitely. I've read, today I read this article, which I understood only half of it. I didn't really understand it. The guy who predicted the market crash of 2008, so he is betting against AI, but not against AI being like developing as rapidly as it is developing, but he is betting against people, like, from what I understood, against people to keep investing in AI as much as they're doing today.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Again? No.
So, okay, so he bought like a huge amount of stock of like certain companies, of the AI companies that are like the top AI companies. I can't remember the name of them because I don't know them. But so 2 of the AI companies. And so I think what he's predicting is he's betting that right now everybody's investing in those things, but then at some point it's gonna like burst like a bubble. Remember the .com bubble? The real estate bubble. Like this and that, like in 2008 what happened, it was a real estate bubble that burst. So he's thinking that the same thing is going to happen to the AI companies right now.
Okay.
Right? So,
But he keeps investing though.
that's why I told you I didn't understand half the article. I only understood half of it. But my point being is that, there's just huge sharks that invest like enormous amount of money, and those are the people who are like moving the big pieces.
The market,
Right? Moving the big things around. And just reading that, like, I was just blown away at like how much, like, one person, he's just that one person, and he has so much power and so much influence over people because people look up to him. Like whatever he does, they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this because he's smart.
So if he said it's gonna be pop up as a bubble, they're not gonna invest in it probably in AI or
I
less
don't know
invest
why.
less.
That's what I don't
but he's
understand what the article said because he bought more of
Than
the
anyone,
shares. So I don't get it. Either he's gonna like sell it right before it
Maybe.
bursts, or like something along those lines, right? It's happening there. I just don't.
Yeah, what do you
Like
think?
my little girl brain did not understand.
Yeah, those are it's speculations. You know, we can talk about it forever, and it's very important, which I met in my career. And they always say, "Hey, we want to, you know, we don't want any risk, we want a lot of money. Like, what do I do? You know,
Yeah.
it's like, let's sit down, let's have a conversation. It's not how it works." And so, while educating, telling them the difference, it's very, very important in my job to educate them. Give them idea what that means when you buy a stock or when you buy another investment, like what's the difference between two, and throw it that can and that's kind of opens up to another opportunities for
Well, but except for building a personal relationship, what should a person look for in a financial advisor? Like, how do I know what educational background is the best for being a financial advisor? Like, how do you know that? Like, for example, for doctors, right? We can look up where they went to school. We can look up where they went to do their residency, fellowship. You know, even like there's certain websites that grade them, right? As far as like health grades or whatever, where patients can say, you know. You know, grade the person and say, okay, this is a good doctor. This is the doctor that you can trust. How can you do the same thing for a financial advisor?
Well, number one is knowing his firm, the company where he is connected to.
What if you
make
don't
sure
know
that-
any companies? You just Google them, or like how do you
you
go
just
about
do
that?
a little research on the company, go to Wikipedia, like any information.
Looking for reputation or
Yeah,
the
make sure
company,
it's a good company, because if
not a
he
scam. It's easy to get into scam.
exactly
Probably,
so because if he's registered, there's a website you can find out if he's a registered representative. There's a license involved, of course, so you can do the broker check. That's the website which you can check on your broker. Make sure he has a license.
It's a good advice.
And
yeah.
actually, it has a full background of that advisor experience from when he started, where you can actually look it up that way. And of course, the company where he's working. So if a company has been in business for many years, has a great reputation. So that's where you start. And then you just see how the conversation, how the relationship goes with the advisor. You see if he can relate to your family situation, from the background perspective, if you can relate your background, so you can talk to you about you know your goals, your personal goals, and
It's super important that what you said right now, because we had a conversation about scams, and we know that people are like investing online and online businesses and stuff like this, and they meet with financial advisors and everything, and then they lose everything because apparently it turned out into scam. So it's such a dangerous field right now to invest, and people try to do everything online and be scammed. So like, how do you avoid this, problems in the future, and how internet and AI changed this business?
well, it's completely different now. And it's, to be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna have a job 15 years from now or 10 years from now, because AI is taking over for sure. But what I learned, that us as a human beings, throughout the whole evolution, think about it, millions of years ago when humanity started, we did not lose one quality. It's a quality and desire to socialize. That's the only quality we kept in common. So I believe there is AI, there's internet, but we still want to socialize. We will still want to sit down, have a conversation. That's where
Have an actual person. in
actual
front of you,
person,
yeah.
and that matter. And it's when it comes to finances, you want somebody to hold your
I
hand.
don't know, not my kid. What about your? What about your Americans.
They mean conversation, source of conversation in general
Exactly.
device. No, they like to
No,
have
not
like
my kid wouldn't, she don't like nothing.
What do you mean?
Personal.
What do you?
So I see that she only has two friends, two close friends, which, okay, I don't mind that, but she would rather avoid personal contact. So if she can find information online rather than go talk to someone or ask someone, she'd rather do that, and have as little as possible conversation and communication with, yes, contact with other people. And I see that there's a lot of kids like that these days, and not only her. It might be just a personality trait, but it might be something bigger.
Well, it's I think it's both, and the younger kids have more of screen time than personal time, obviously. But I notice with my kids who are in college now that they obviously do a lot of online, and they do ChatGPT and all of that, and they study online with YouTube and ChatGPT, but they still have their advisors in college, and they still talk to people because there's like, I guess they will give you something that you cannot get from, I don't know what it is, but they do have advisors in college, and they do go and talk to them. And I guess because people care, maybe, what you're gonna, like your financial advisors that you got into medical school, right? And the people on another side of the table will care about you, right? What?
I didn't go to medical school. You can't say that.
You're going to medical school, you're the president of the company. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
That's old representation.
It's all good. I said so. Okay?
She's like, I said what I said.
Medical school. Regardless, anyway, who are you? You're another doctor, but we're close.
Yeah, but still, I can't say much.
But the fact of the matter is, you went to college, and you still had advisors, right? And the girls still have advisors, and maybe your daughter will still have an advisor when the time will come to go to college, not just ChatGPT, because people cares.
I'm not
and
saying
robots.
that there are not. There are, but the preference.
Even for me, I would ChatGPT better.
Given the preference, right? Well, look at that, right? Like, and we grew up
absolutely
talking to
differently.
people. We grew up communicating. We grew up calling people.
Yeah, and I'm
knocking on the door. You remember?
Now I'm like, I'm gonna get this information faster. I'm gonna be more summarized, like better summarize this information. I'm not gonna talk for 2 hours. It's gonna be, I need to take what I need to take. But it's very different.
It's a different world. It's a different world, definitely. Yes. So the main idea from today's conversation is to set a goal and plan and go towards that goal, and then pivot if you need to, because life is life. Things are happening.
Yes.
And then if you need to pivot, you need to pivot. And then you need to make changes, and you need to adjust to whatever it is that happened.
But what we forgot about the women immigrants. For example, when women came to this country, doesn't matter if they got married or they came by themselves, what do they do to like just begin with? Not just investments. We're not talking about investments, but basic steps to start their life in America.
Start planning, to start protecting
what do we do?
themselves.
Like concrete steps, like opening a credit card, right? To start their credit history, right?
If you can, right off the bat, you can.
Probably, yeah. Well, you
open their own bank account, like basic steps.
You have to clearly know what you want, why you came here. Maybe you came here to have babies and be married. You don't need to.
But do you need to have still that financial security if you got married?
Or you
rely on your husband and you pray that you will never get divorced and left without nothing. So women probably even in a good marriage have to have that security and do something for themselves, have their bank accounts, right? Probably, I don't know.
Absolutely, yes. I always think about security. Of course, being financially independent, it's the first priority for any woman, for immigrant women or not immigrant women. But because of the language, some people don't have enough vocabulary to even open an account or talk to a financial person. So you have to find your support system. Now with, like you mentioned, social media, you can find groups, Russian-speaking groups.
Yeah, and you're Russian, like for example, you speak Russian, and if them
Exactly.
came from a Russian-speaking country and they don't speak, they can go to you, and it will be so much easier to understand.
Absolutely, find a mentor who speaks your language first. And then clearly know what you want to do. If you want to become a professional, you have to go to school. There's so many different educational courses are available online, and you can always find education. Depends on what you want to do, and it's what my advice. It's always a baby steps. You know, we all come here, we watch social media, we want all those beautiful lives, what somebody else has, but it's a lot of work. And we know we live in this country, which requires a lot of work ethic, and just make an achievable goal, and goal by goal, step by step, and then from small bricks you can build a house. So pretty much that's my advice to anyone.
And for those who come with, because a lot of our immigrants from post-Soviet Union, they already have higher education if they're coming here as adults, right? A lot of them have higher education, and some of them are in finance, some of them are economics or whatever else might be. Do you think it's possible for them to enter the field with the background, or is it something that no, you have to like go from zero and
of course, there's so many options. If you have education, if you finish the school, you can transfer those credits. It's the system. You have to follow steps. Then you pick a college, you pick a profession. What I like about our education, and like I came from Russia, my school had an excellent curriculum. And I was able to transfer a lot of elective credits to school, and I actually maxed out. I transferred 75 credits from Russian university, and that gave me a base. And then I went to got my major courses and credits later on. And of course, there are so many opportunities. It would be it's amazing that they have that background, have that education. They just have to find the right person to talk to. And usually, colleges are very, very open to conversation. You can actually dial. For example, my sister recently just went to FIU through some hotline number. They actually found her a Russian-speaking advisor who specifically dealing with people like her who finished school a while ago and wants to get American education. So help is always available. It's just looking for help and find the right source.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
So people who come here and have a background can apply, right?
Yeah,
that background.
absolutely.
Because a lot of the times, I think immigration, what it does to adults, it kind of breaks them because they go from one place in the world where they knew where things were, and then they knew people and they had connections and they had family, et cetera, et cetera. They just kind of get thrown into something else and start your life all over again.
Right.
And a lot of them feel lost, especially in the area of in professional area, because what do I do now?
Yeah.
I used to be a teacher. How do I become a teacher here if I want to do that, right? Or I used to be an accountant. How do I become an accountant? So it's a transition.
It's a transition, and there is some challenges. I would say, when I came, like I said, I wanted to become a school teacher, and I remember at some point someone said, "You teacher with that accent? Like, are you kidding me?" And I got so hurt, and I talked to my and I talked to my other professor. He was excellent secondary education course. I mentioned that. He's like, I will talk to her. I will make a big deal out of it. What do you mean? He got so upset. So he said, "It's fabulous you speak second language. It's fabulous you have that background." So it's also, you have to remember, if you came to one door and they close it on you, it doesn't mean life
that all the doors are closed.
Exactly. You have to try to find
keep knocking.
Keep knocking. Find your support system. Find your friends. Find your helper. That's very important. That's what it was an example, but there's so many challenges, especially, speaking about discrimination and it's always out there. It's still.
And what do you think about, like I was telling Natasha, that I get on my Instagram, I get pop-ups of ads for companies who are women-led companies that help you to invest or teach you how to invest, right? And I feel like it's a new thing. I don't think I've seen that before. It's something that was realized by the community of women. We're like, listen, we're the ones who don't have the know-how. We're the ones who don't have the education. We're the ones who don't know what to do with their future. Maybe we should start.
Right.
So what do you think about that like movement of like women picking up and realizing that so many years after, that we need to start thinking about our own goals and our own things and not just rely on somebody else or just go with the flow?
There is so much support out there for women-owned companies. If you even Google it, for women-owned, there's so many like big companies wanted to deal with women-owned companies, and they welcome companies who owned by women. They try to grow that industry. They try to help women to start the companies and be entrepreneur. We have a lot of work to do in that section, though, because what I've done some research. There's companies they don't feel confident to invest in company-owned women, which is completely wrong. And they don't feel they feel high risk categories, and we should definitely promote companies where they're owned by women. We have to support those companies because, like I said, we're caregivers. We have families, and running a business. We do need that support.
A lot of women, I'm talking about still about immigrant women who come here and they marry into like money, right? A lot of women will marry into money, and they start.
I don't know where there's a lot of women who marry into money.
So a lot of women probably do, like when they come from different countries and like for fancy visa, right? No, I'm not talking about.
No, but I'm saying, like, where are those people with the money?
There's some women, but the fact of the matter is they start to buy stuff like a lot of bags, going like stuff that are not maybe important now, but not going to be important in the future. And we started from savings, right? Our podcast. So probably they have to think more about like saving money just in case, because you don't know what's going to happen in your marriage, right? Yeah. And talking about like you are a financial advisor and your husband has his own business or had his own business, like do you invest in yourself? Do you do like saving accounts? Like how do you advise yourself? Do you have an advisor for an advisor?
like every psychologist needs a psychologist.
Yeah, every psychologist has a psychologist. Yes.
Well, of course, my husband and I we have an age difference similar to yours, and of course we have different goals, and it is challenging sometimes because I'm in a moment of my life like I want to grow, I want to achieve crazy results,
new levels of success.
Yeah, sky's the limit. I'm very ambitious. I know exactly what I want, and he's in a slower stage. He's semi-retired, and he's just
he wants to chill already.
Yes, he wants to chill.
The point where he wants to chill. Yeah.
So there are different goals, and of course, talking about living in that space. Going back to the question, when you came to this country and married to a wealthy person, and then you don't have to work, you have to spend. How do you? You have to have that conversation with your husband. You have to say, let's look. I want to make sure I'm okay with a rainy day. Let's open an account. Let's see what I can.
So it has to
me.
be a conversation. You don't have to be shy. You have to talk about it because it's your future, no matter what. Yes,
absolutely. And having different goals, it's an issue because he doesn't like. I want to grow. I want to work. I have a career ahead of me. I'm so excited.
Every day opens new opportunities.
Exactly. And he's on a more, in a different stage of his life, and he might not even think about it from my point of view. So I have to bring it up to me. So it has to be clear conversation. And always, if you have opportunities to save, put money on the side, and don't leave above your needs. You have this available, credit card you can spend.
Right, right.
But just, be reasonable.
Yeah, you're young and you have your goals, but you have to think that your future is far ahead.
Exactly, you have to
think
understand
about that.
this is your age, a more productive age, when you can, build a career, become successful, and
Right.
you have to use that time to build some base
Right, yeah.
for your future, because when you retire, he might not be there.
Yeah.
And it has to be open conversation. Say, honey, this is what we're gonna, let's be friends. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
How do you see our future 10, 15 years from now, when they're not around? Like,
Yeah.
it's a very hard conversation. It's a heartbreaking conversation. But again, you have to have a trust. You have to talk to advisor. You have to talk to a professional, and put your situation in order.
Yeah.
It's very important. It's a conversation nobody wants to have.
Like
But
Nadia's husband.
But you have
Always
to
avoid
put
it, yeah.
the situation, finances in some order. So
That's why rich American people have prenups.
Yeah, prenups.
Right? That's another thing, because we don't. Prenups are rather new to our space, right? As far as like
They're not. I don't think they exist even. Do they exist in like our?
No, they do.
They do. They started already the prenup situation.
I think so.
Yeah?
Yes, I
Okay,
think.
because we
they
didn't
do.
have it before.
But I think it's more of like, who have them like the big celebrities, or like, I don't know, very important politicians, or people who have like millions and millions of dollars. Like, those people have those prenups right now. But back in the day, that wasn't even a thing. Like, right, exactly. We didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And again,
So it's one of those situations when you have to
coming
talk
from
about it.
another
Yeah.
background, right? Some people can get offended by a prenup because they don't understand what the rationale behind it is.
Yeah, it's love. We love each other.
Right,
It's
exactly.
never going to stop.
Emotional
Love is
versus
going to be
financial
forever.
versus logical, right? All of that.
Yeah.
So
It's good when you're like 20 years and over 20 years, but it doesn't work for all people. So everybody have to think about it. Remember, what if even you don't want to think about what ifs? What is the most difficult part of your job? I wanted to ask still a few questions. Like, did you want to say something about, or like
any other like topic or avenue that we didn't explore?
That we didn't get into, during this conversation. Maybe you had something in mind.
I would say girls from Soviet Union, from where we came from, they have confidence issues. I would say there is not enough. They don't believe in themselves.
That's probably true.
It's from our history, from brutal history, political events, you name it. I think that's the biggest issue with girls from other countries. They come here, like from Russia, for example. They come here. They know they can do anything. That's the main message. We can do anything. We have amazing opportunity. This country is a country of opportunity.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've done it on my own. I came to this country with $500 cash by myself, not speaking English.
Yeah.
Like completely from ground. The ground is zero you can be.
Yeah, I heard your stories. So like, you have money for food, right? It's like
it's
crazy.
It's brutal. Yes, and it was very, very challenging. But again, it was very ambitious. It was like, I want to do this. I want to be there. I want to do this. And the same with girls who come here from other countries. They might have these confidence issues. They might don't believe in themselves. They think that they have accent. It's not okay. I'm not going to speak as much, and they silence themselves. But we have to remember it's our advantage. how it's our advantage to speak both languages, and our audience is enormous. Look how many of us, and we're able to help. We're even able to find support system, help, advise, friends, and we connect easily.
True.
You know,
True.
it's no matter what. If we speak, it's funny when you walk in. When I go out networking in the room, what's your name? What's your name? And then there's like a lady. Are you Russian? Yes. Oh, you start speaking, and we're like, that's the best friends, and we don't need this like months of building relationship. You know, we're already friends.
Yeah.
And it's a great
Because
advantage.
of the background. Yeah.
It's a great advantage. And I would say, just dreaming. We have to know how to dream.
Yeah.
Because they make us alive, make us happy when we just have a vision what we want and just like, yes, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
So
That's an amazing message. I love it.
I love it. Absolutely. So basically, the best advice, first of all, don't wait until your situation becomes crazy and you don't know what to do and you have no money, right? And so you're divorced and everything. Start building your financial
security.
Future and security right away when you came to the country, and keep dreaming. And everything is possible, right?
Yes.
If you just put your mind to it, like as we said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful
So
country.
that's basically my takeaway out of all this conversation. Just to be, and you find your support system. If you are afraid to do things, find someone who will help you to build this confidence and to go where you need to go. And do you need a lot of money to hire a financial advisor?
You don't need a lot of money. It's not a hiring process. So usually you have a discussion, and the advisor goes over your goals, over your situation, and makes a proposition. And you can decide, do you want to do this or not? But at least you have a time to sit down. You will create full financial pictures, almost 30 pages long financial breakdown from what you want and where you are right now, how we get there, how we stay there. And it's up to you. You don't have to give your business to an advisor, but initial consultation is always free.
Yeah. No, it's
Just
amazing.
You get an idea.
ChatGPT, it's super important and it's cool, but ChatGPT and any robots, they don't care about you, okay? The person, the real, actual human being cares about your future, and they will help you in the best possible way, because there are so many little things.
Nuances.
Yeah, no robots will actually understand what human being is going to understand. So to have a connection and find yourself somebody who will set your financial goals and help you, it's much better than ChatGPT.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Until next time.
Until next time, and thank you so much for being with us today, Nadia. Nadia, and I'm gonna keep making wishes until we leave. So keep making wishes between two Nadias. Bye, everyone. See you next time.